James Allen, Jim Ferrell, born September 15, 1966, is an American politician and the current mayor of Federal Way, Washington, after being a member of the Republican Party for 20 years. In 2012 he switched to the Democratic Party. Ferrell previously served 10 years on the Federal Way City Council and was the prime mover behind the city's transition from a council-manager form of city government to a mayor-council or strong mayor government. Federal Way is currently the 9th largest city in the state of Washington. Personal background: Jim Ferrell grew up in Federal Way until the age of 9 when his father died. After his father's passing, he, his mother, his twin brother and his older brother and sister moved to Yelm, Washington. Jim Ferrell graduated from Yelm High School in 1985 as a multi-sport athlete and student body president. After high school, Ferrell attended the University of Washington and walked on, as an outside linebacker, to the Washington Huskies football team, then led by Hall of Fame head coach Don James. Ferrell spent 4 seasons, 1985–88, on the team, receiving the 1986 Brian Stapp Memorial Award for the Most Inspirational Non-Letterman, earning the 1988 Bob Jarvis Award for Most Inspirational Walk-On Player, and was chosen by his fellow players in 1988 to win the prestigious Guy Flaherty Medal for the team's Most Inspirational Player, despite being primarily a scout team player for all 4 seasons. After graduating in 1989 from the University of Washington with a Bachelor of Arts, B.A. in Political Science, Ferrell attended the Gonzaga University School of Law and graduated with a Juris Doctor degree, J.D. In 1993, Jim Ferrell lives in Federal Way with his wife, Wendy, and their son. Professional background: while in law school, Ferrell was a White House intern during the presidency of George H.W. Bush and worked as a legislative assistant for state senators Pete von Reichbauer and Ray Schau, both of whom represented Washington's 30th legislative district, which includes the entirety of Federal Way. During this period, Jim Ferrell was nearly appointed to the Washington State Senate, finishing second behind Schau to fill the seat left vacant after von Reichbauer's election to the King County Council. After receiving his J.D., Ferrell began his career as a prosecutor for the city of Renton, Washington before moving on to the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office in 1998. That same year Ferrell won an award from the King County Sheriff's Office for performing life-saving CPR on a fellow prosecutor and, in 2003, won an award for chasing down on foot and apprehending a defendant who had fled a courtroom. In 2000, Ferrell became the supervisor of King County's newly created Domestic Violence Court and later, 2005–07, served 2 terms as the president of the King County Prosecuting Attorneys Union. Similar to his near appointment to the state Senate, Ferrell in 2007 finished second behind Dan Satterberg to be appointed as King County Prosecuting Attorney to fill the position following the death of Norm Maleng. Jim Ferrell had risen to the position of King County Senior Deputy Prosecuting Attorney before resigning on December 31, 2013 to take the position of Mayor of Federal Way. Political career: in 2002, Jim Ferrell challenged the 30th Legislative District's then 2-term incumbent socially conservative Democratic Washington State Representative Mark Milishia. Milishia ended up winning the election by more than 11 percentage points. The following year, Ferrell took on incumbent Federal Way City Council member Mary Gates, who had been a city council member since Federal Way was incorporated in 1990. Ultimately, Ferrell defeated Gates by nearly 5 percentage points. In his two subsequent city council re-election races in 2007 and 2011, Ferrell did not face any opposition. One of Ferrell's prime initiatives while on the city council was a successful transition to making Federal Way municipal court judges elected, instead of appointed. Analogous to this interest in having public accountability for officials, Jim Ferrell supported the February 2008 ballot initiative to transition from a council-manager form of city government to a mayor-council or strong mayor government. The initiative failed by about 10 percentage points. The following year, Ferrell spearheaded a second effort to make the same transition in city government. This initiative, on its second attempt, passed by about 3 percentage points on the 2009 general election ballot. During the campaign to change the city's form of government, Ferrell made clear that he would run for the office of mayor if the initiative proved successful. Later, State Representative Skip Priest, City Council member Mike Park, and City Council member and future State Representative Linda Cockmer also joined the race to become the city's first elected mayor. His campaign focused on opposition to the proposed skyscraper development in the city's downtown, skepticism of the proposed Performing Arts Center, and a focus on public safety. In the primary election, Ferrell and Priest finished as the top two vote-getters, meaning they would face off in the general election. Ultimately, Skip Priest won the general election by about 4 percentage points. The proposed skyscraper plan, which was a major talking point during the campaign, died 3 months after the election when the developers could not pay an initial $100,000 to the city on the proposed $350 million project. In April 2012, 5 months following Ferrell's election to a third term to the federal city council, he announced that he would be switching parties from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. In his column explaining his decision, Ferrell said it was motivated by what he saw as a move by the Republican Party to more far-right tone and reactionary policies. Chief among his concerns were that the Republican Party appeared to him to take neither global climate change nor a 21st-century approach to energy policy seriously. Also concerning Ferrell was what he saw as the Republican Party's continued preference toward tax cuts for the rich instead of policies to mitigate the jobs lost and lives upended following the Great Recession of 2008. On May 6, 2013, Jim Ferrell announced his candidacy for Federal Way's mayor in the 2013 election, in what turned out to be a rematch of the 2010 contest between himself and then-Mayor Skip Priest. In addition to similar themes heard during the 2010 election, Ferrell was also critical of Priest's cuts in the city's workforce, particularly its police force, during his term in office, as well as his advocacy for legislation that would have dismantled sound transit. Public safety was of particular interest during the election due to the 2013 mass shooting at Federal Way's Pinewood Village apartment complex that left 5 dead. In addition to a 24% increase in burglaries and a 12% increase in auto thefts in the city in 2012. The rematch of the 2010 election resulted in the unseating of the incumbent mayor, with Ferrell prevailing with more than 55% of the vote. Mayor of Federal Way Jim Ferrell took office as Federal Way's second elected mayor on January 1, 2014. Electoral history.